What's up, Valorant fans? Welcome back to the Valorant Report. I'm IHOLDSHIFT, and just in case you're wondering if you are a returning sub, yes, I will be starting to do more videos on my YouTube channel again. This will mostly be used for Valorant Esports related stuff. If you're somebody who's new, welcome. I do a lot of commentary for Valorant. Most specifically, you might see me on the Team Liquid stuff that happens on the weekends for the North American region. Let's dig in and talk about what's been going on, though, in day number 1 of the T1 Nerd Street Gamers Ignition Series Showdown. In case you were not familiar with how the format started, there were 11 invited teams out of the 16 in total that showed up. The other 5 were dictated by 3 separate qualifiers. The first and second qualifiers, the top 2 teams made it in, and then there was one final community qualifier in which the Charlotte Phoenix was able to win, and they got their spot earned to get into the top 16. 4 groups of 4, top 2 make it to the playoff, bottom 2 unfortunately do not. So who were the 8 teams to get in? Let's start talking about what's going on in Group A. A very interesting group. I think a lot of people thought this may have been an easier group because FaZe Clan was a bit untested. Cloud9, we weren't sure which Cloud9 we were going to get, and we learned very quickly that this FaZe Clan team does look good. Again, they went 2-1 on the day, plus 4 in total in the map count. Not the greatest, not the worst, but the squad that is consisting mostly of Corey and Zachary as former Overwatch League pros, you were looking at them to see how well would they do in Valorant. The answer was they played relatively well throughout the day. 2-0 versus Prospects, which they should have had. 2-0 versus Together We Are Terrific, what they should have had. But the interesting thing was at the end of the day, when Cloud9 had been looking bad, they lost 1-2 in map count with a 113 loss on Ascent in that best of 3 set. So interesting things there, but again, we expected FaZe Clan to get through this, not taking anything away from Together We Are Terrific or Prospects, who looked incredible throughout their qualifying run, and I've had the chance to cast a lot during Team Liquid, whereas Together We Are Terrific, they went 2-1 of the day with a -4 map count. And again, their only real kind of gaping loss was the 0-2 loss versus FaZe Clan. They had to beat Prospects in the final match of the evening to get in. It was a close series, but as history has seen these two teams play most recently in the first qualifier, it would turn up the same way with Together We Are Terrific taking a 2-0 versus them. The interesting thing here is that Cloud9 does not make it to the playoff. In this Cloud9 squad, that only was a +1 map positive. Again, they lose 2 more rounds in there. They find themselves at the bottom of a group where 2 qualifiers were in. That's not what you want to see whatsoever from Cloud9, especially considering that TenZ was really the only one worth a damn throughout the day. And you're wondering about players like Poach, Shinobi, and Mitch. Relics played relatively well, but these other 3, are they going to be able to hang with the kind of vigor that you need to see out of a top squad, where it really does kind of feel like after this outing, maybe Cloud9 needs to make a move and try to find somebody else from one of these more up-and-coming quote-unquote qualifying teams to maybe try to help TenZ and Relics out just a bit. Going over to Group B, Team Solo Mid and Immortals will get their way through. Team Solo Mid looked incredible throughout the day. I would say they're by far one of the top 3 favorites right now as they smoked Immortals 13-3, 13-6, and they had relatively easier games versus Spot Up in the Charlotte Phoenix. On Immortals' side of things, though, again, this is mostly a team that has a lot of Counter-Strike background in Bjor, Asuna, JC Stanny. Not too much of an issue with the Charlotte Phoenix or Spot Up, and obviously we already talked about the total versus Team Solo Mid. So definitely interesting. I think this is how this group was kind of panned out, what people expected at the beginning, and I think that's pretty much come to fruition with not just the map counts, but also how the rounds kind of look between these squads. In Group C, an interesting one, as T1 and 100 Thieves, they were the expected to get through. Code 7 has been a squad that has been in the Team Liquid closed series a number of times, but have not had a chance to win one of those yet. They actually look pretty good. They unfortunately had to play 100 Thieves early, and where they didn't really look nearly as warmed up as maybe they were. But they played T1 extremely close, so keep your eye on this Code 7 squad. But for Brax, Skadoodle, Crashies, Food, and AZK at a T1, they were probably the favorites coming into this tournament that they're hosting. They come out of Group C not really less of the favorite, even though they did have that 3-map series versus Code 7 in their second set. They smoked 100 Thieves in their final set of the evening. I mean, it was a 2-0 stomp. Absolutely blowout. 13-5, 13-4 were the 2 scores there. And for 100 Thieves, You might consider them a bit lucky to be through at this point, considering they played Code 7 early and Team Ninja's squad was just not good at all. So kind of a interesting dynamic there where maybe Code 7 had a chance to upset, but not quite at that level, at least not as of yet. In our final group, Group D, again, this one kind of went as expected. Even though Mix-Up was an invited squad, you just didn't see them holding up. The big thing, though, and a bit of a surprise, it's kind of in a positive way, Sentinels looked actually really, really good. Again, we weren't sure what this team was going to look like, have not had a chance to see these guys play all that often in most recent history, but they looked good throughout the day, pretty much throughout, as they had a couple of great wins versus Gen G, and who knows, maybe this team can continue to surprise us in a positive way as they move into the playoff bracket as well. For Gen G, on the other hand, they too knowed everyone they were supposed to, but maybe not as convincing as people would have expected. So we'll see what this Gen G squad has to do, which of course brings us to our bracket, which is going on throughout the majority of the day today on the T1 channel, starting at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Team Solo Mid will play up against Together We Are Terrific, and as much as I want to see this qualifier team surprise, I don't think this is the team that they surprise. Team Solo Mid should have this with no problem. 2-0 there. FaZe Clan will be playing up against 100 Thieves, and this is interesting because, again, we would have expected, I think, 100 Thieves to be a stronger opponent for T1, and they weren't. And then FaZe Clan, who started off strong versus teams they were supposed to start off strong against, they lost to Cloud9, who looked pretty weak throughout the day, and especially that 113 map count. This could be a very good game, depending on who shows up, or maybe on the other side, who doesn't show up, if you're looking at that perspective. In the other matchup, Sentinels and Immortals, I'm actually most excited, I think, overall to see this one, as I want to see both these teams really prove themselves here. For Immortals, this is a squad that I've been following pretty closely. I had a chance to cast over JC Standy back when he played Battalion for a while. He's an incredible shot. He's an incredibly smart player, and I think that, again, that matchup versus TSM, yeah, it was a bit of a beat up, but at the same point, I think they're going to learn a lot from that. And a team like Sentinels, who, again, we're looking to see how good this squad is going to be, this should be a pretty fair test for them. Definitely keep your eye out for that matchup. And then to final things off in the first upper bracket quarterfinal, it's T1 and Gen G. I was not terribly impressed from what I was reading off of Gen G from the little bit of instances we had a chance to watch them yesterday. So I would expect that with T1, especially rolling through 100 Thieves, maybe a bit surprised by Code 7. I don't expect them to come out slow whatsoever. I think they take this one no problem 2-0. Again, there is another day of events that are going on, so make sure you come back after day number 2 for your recap before you get going for day number 3. Subscribe on your way out, like the video down below if you liked the video, and hopefully we'll catch you guys back next time for more Valorant Report. But until then, we hope you keep holding it down. Later. Bye-bye.